Hi everyone, welcome back to So Arizona. Spring is a very busy time in the garden here in southern Arizona. Because of our unique growing seasons, we have several pretty short time periods that we can grow things. And so because of that, time is of utmost importance. I thought it would be helpful for you to share what I am planting right now in my garden. But because we're all busy, I thought it would be easier for you to watch in smaller segments. So I'm going to be dividing up my subject matters over the next few days. So today I'm going to be sharing all of the vegetable seeds that I am planting directly out in the garden right now. And the next episode will be the seedlings, the vegetable seedlings that I'm going to be planting out in the garden. And then I'm also going to be sharing over the next few days the flower seedlings and seeds I'm planting. And then finally, I'm going to be sharing the fruits that I'm going to be planting out in my garden. I think that there are a lot of great options for fruits that we can grow in our gardens that don't take up a lot of space, so I want to share those too. I'm going to try to keep the videos to about 5 minutes so that it is much easier for you to watch and then put into practice in your garden. So without further ado, let's talk about the vegetable seeds that I'm planting directly in the garden right now. The first one I'm planting is a really amazing plant, and that is Amaranth. So it provides for pollinators through its flowers. It also provides leafy greens when it's young. Those are really delicious if you're looking for a heat-tolerant leafy green. Once the lettuce and the spinach fizzles out from the heat, then Amaranth is great. And if you grow enough of it, it can actually produce a lot of very nutritious grain. So I love Amaranth for all of those reasons, as well as because it is just a really beautiful plant. It comes in all different shapes and sizes and colors, and I love being able to mix lots of different ones throughout the garden. A bonus is that it's really tall, so it works really well as a trellis for climbing things like beans, and it also provides dappled shade for growing things that are a little more sensitive to the sun underneath its canopy. Following that same idea of providing shade and also a support structure is okra. And okra is a wonderful, delicious, heat-tolerant plant that I love growing every year. It is probably one of the best performing things in my garden when not much else will grow because it's over 100 degrees. And just like Amaranth, okra will provide shade and also a climbing structure for things that you grow underneath it. Just like Amaranth, okra comes in so many different sizes and shapes and colors, and there are so many that I love growing. I grew a dwarf long pod last year, and it would work really well in a raised bed or even in a container. So if you're growing in a small space, that's a great choice. Another favorite to grow in the garden that you can sow directly right now is basil. So basil comes in so many different flavors and so many different heights and textures. Some of them have beautiful blooms. The pollinators love the blooms. They're a great companion plant for so many things. And the best part is that basil is so amazing fresh. I just don't think that dried basil or frozen basil comes anywhere near the flavor of fresh basil, and it's such a versatile herb. So definitely include that. I like to sow basil seeds all along the borders of my in-ground beds, and I also love using the smaller sized basil such as the window box basil and the purple ball basil in my raised beds. I think that those are a great addition, and they stay very petite, so they work really well in a small space. Next up is cucumbers. Cucumbers are an amazing plant because they work so well in pretty much any space. I will use them in ground, growing underneath my eggplants as a ground cover, and also to just maximize the productivity of the smaller space. You can grow them vertically on a trellis in a raised bed or in a container, and so cucumbers are so great. I like to plant extra so that I can chop them up and freeze them, and I toss them into smoothies during the winter time. As a matter of fact, I've only got one small Ziploc bag left in my freezer right now, so I really need to get some cucumbers planted. Zucchini and summer squash are another amazing heat-tolerant choice for your vegetable garden. There are a few varieties that will grow vertically, as well as some that are a little more petite, like the Ostia zucchini that I grew last year in one of my flower pots, and it worked really well and was amazingly prolific. I like to directly sow summer squash and zucchini in my garden beds right now, And I will also in a few weeks start some seeds in pots indoors, and that is just to ensure that I have a constant and steady supply of zucchini through the season, because I do have a problem with vine borers here in my garden, and they always end up taking out my plants around July. So I like to have some extra zucchini plants that are ready to go. So I'll be starting those inside in a few weeks as well. If you like beans, now is the time for those. Bush beans, pole beans, dried beans, green beans, black-eyed peas, cowpeas. So you can plant all of the different kinds of beans right now. If you're wanting to grow tepary beans, I would hold off on that until monsoon season, but otherwise pretty much any bean you can think of can be planted directly in the garden right now. One of my favorite cowpea varieties that I grew for the last few years is the Tahana Autumn cowpea. It looks like a little black and white speckled cow. They're really cute little beans, and they're so delicious, so much better than the black-eyed peas that you can get in the store. I still have a lot of them in the house that I have shelled out and kept in my pantry. So if you're looking for a really tough, heat-tolerant, nutritious, cute carbohydrate that you can grow in your garden, cowpeas is a really great one. You just need to make sure that you have enough space, because some varieties can be a little bit bossy in the garden and take up quite a bit of space. A couple of seasons ago, I grew some cowpeas with my corn, and the vines were so pretty, just climbing up the corn stalks and also up the sunflowers that I had planted in that bed as well. A lot of the varieties do need to have some support, but you can use some of the sturdier plants like large sunflowers and full-sized corn for some of the cowpea varieties. Speaking of corn, you can also grow so many different varieties of corn: popcorn, flour corn, or sweet corn. Just make sure that you don't grow them together, because they can cross-pollinate and make for a pretty weird ear of corn that's not really good for anything. So if you're growing sweet corn, stick with that, or if you're growing popcorn, stick with that. Or if you have a really large property, you could probably space them out, but even here where I have an acre, it would be really difficult because corn pollen can travel on the wind, and so it is very easy to cross-pollinate that. Of course, the Three Sisters garden is a great way to maximize your space if you're growing in a smaller space, planting corn and beans and squash all together. This year, I'm going to be planting corn as well as beans and pumpkins in one of my garlic beds, and I think that it's going to be really beautiful. And speaking of pumpkins, you can grow all kinds of winter squash right now in your garden as well, so make sure you directly sow some of those seeds too. And for those of you with a sweet tooth, or those of you with kids, now is a great time to plant melons of all kinds: cantaloupe, honeydew, watermelon, you name it. There are so many different fun melons to grow, and you can grow them vertically on a trellis or on a cattle panel that you've made into an arch, or you can grow them just sprawling on the ground, whatever you have the space for, and they're always really fun. That was my quick run through on all of the vegetable seeds that you can sow directly out in your garden right now. I hope that you have your seed packets ready and that you have a really good time this weekend getting those in the ground. I'll be back next time talking about flower seeds I'm planting directly out in the garden, as well as some flower transplants that I will be setting out. So I hope you'll tune in for that. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm Kara from Arizona. Until next time, happy gardening.